right. I think we're good to go. Damn, I got this lighting on point. I look good, people. I got camera 1, 2, and 3. It looks so good. This is like my wheelhouse. I love being able to mess around with the cameras and lighting and everything else. I feel like if this YouTube thing doesn't work out, I still got another sweet gig. At least making other people look good. But what's going on, everybody? Welcome to In the Chaos. My name is Brad. Fat Man Zoom's not here today. We do have Mr. Freddie Valoy, and he'll be on in a second. But just wanted to say what's up. If you guys are new, obviously hit the subscribe button if you want to see more content related around investing and having some fun with it. We bring a whole different element to investing and how we view investing. You know, it's an old white person's game usually, right? That's the I guess stereotype. But there's more and more people getting into it, especially like on this channel. Our demographic is awesome. We have a mixed pot of everything. I am proud of the fact we have a very high demographic of the ladies as well, which is pretty awesome. Usually don't see that on investing channels. But if you guys are into having fun while investing and making it interesting, hit the subscribe button. I'm telling you, you won't regret it, especially with the guest that we have today. As always, it's Freddie Valoy. Thursdays. Fridays with Freddie always seems like it would be has a much better ring, but we're going to keep it to Thursdays anyway because we love our Fridays. Nevertheless, we're going to bring Freddie Valoy up on the stage, I guess. What's up, Freddie? How you doing, man?
What is going on? Brad, how you doing? What's up, Chaos crew? Thanks for having me again. I'm loving this. Thursday is my second favorite day of the week, so I love that I get to do this. This is great, man. I love the diversity. That's huge here. I think that's why, you can just feel it. I can't see faces, but I felt that there was diversity just from the comments and stuff. Yeah, it's good stuff. I grew up in New York, so I like melting pot atmosphere. You know what I'm saying? I grew up with Arabs and French people and Germans and Africans and Jamaicans. And it was great. I grew up in Yonkers, New York, which is where Mary J. Blige is from. Also, DMX as well. I feel like I'm right in the middle of them, like just in between. That's where I'm at. Steven Tyler also went to my high school as well. What? So, yeah, dude, yeah. Steven Tyler went to Roosevelt High School. Yeah, it's great. Like in my neighborhood, playing as a kid, we did inner city stuff, guys. It was fun. Like, and I didn't realize when I went to college. Tell my friends these stories and they'd be like, what the fuck, dude? Like for me, like for us, a good time in the neighborhood was like we get a hold of a pellet gun and we go to the rooftop and we just shoot at crackheads from the rooftops.
I mean, we did the same thing in the sticks. It was just like squirrels and shit.
I thought you were gonna say meth heads. I was like, oh man, look at that. We have a commonality there.
There wasn't enough people around. So I lived out in the middle of nowhere. So there wasn't enough people. You just at animals or whatever.
Well, crackheads are the squirrels of the drug community. So they go around and they forage and they, and all that stuff. So it makes sense. But it was fun for us. We just like boom, and then like we hit them. And there was this one crackhead on our block. His name was Credit Man, which, I mean, if you're a crackhead getting the name Credit Man, you got some skills, right? Who's giving a crackhead credit? That's on Biggie's 10 crack commandments right there. You can't be giving a crackhead credit, but we'd hit him and he'd be like, oh, that shit's hurt. And he'd like scurry off like, so one day we grew up in our neighborhood. The white people in our neighborhood were Albanians. Now, if you don't know what that is, like these guys came over here in the late 90s because of the, they almost got, the old genocide and stuff like that going on over there. So they have that mentality. And if you think black people are scary, wait till you meet an Albanian. Those motherfuckers don't give a fuck. Guys, they are white Muslims. Weird. Right? Like that's and this is before Habib Nurmagomedov and all that. So people didn't really know. These motherfuckers are just crazy. And they have cubed heads. Like Russians have a pentagon shaped head, but Albanians have like a cube shaped head. They remind me of the villains from Gumby. Remember those red guys? Yeah. The blockheads.
Oh my god, Gumby, man, that takes me back. Yeah.
Those guys remind me of Eastern European men with the head shape. Also, if you're a criminal taking L's to Gumby, you need to change your career, man. Gumby was putting his hands to those guys. So We're shooting crackheads from the rooftop. I digress. We're shooting crackheads from the rooftop, and my buddy, Albanian kid, goes, "Hey, let me see the gun." I'm thinking, wow, you were a child soldier. You have some experience. Yeah, go ahead, buddy. Shoot the gun. We told him, don't hit this lady. This lady was our best friend's sister, and she fucked like 3 drug dealers on the block. So her pussy was leveraged out. You know what I'm saying? That was her protection. She was all leveraged out. We go, don't hit her. He goes, okay. 5 seconds later, we hear, doof, doof. And she's holding her neck and wobbling. And she's like, oh shit. Niggas is shooting. Everybody run. so we had to scatter. I'm working on that on stage. It's getting laughs. I just don't know how to end it yet. So that's where I'm gonna stop that right there. But
oh my God.
That was, growing up in Yonkers, New York. All I'm saying is Fox News ain't 100% wrong about the inner city. There's some wild shit going on there.
Oh my God. I love how diversity just kind of segues into something like that. Well done, sir.
Yeah.
Nevertheless, guys, welcome to Own the Chaos. Listen, we call Own the Chaos for a variety of reasons, and that was one of them. So we got a lot of topics to discuss today. We're going to be, as the title says, we're going to be getting into this Jeff Bezos versus Elon Musk thing. We got a couple other things. You heard us talk about Dollar Tree earlier in the week. Going to get Freddie's take on it. And also, Freddie is this close to being able to buy some stocks. And we're going to maybe hint around as to what he's looking at buying. And then next week, he's actually going to make the purchase. So we're going to hint around as far as what he's looking at, maybe potentially just put that out there. And then we'll work into that next week as far as making an official stock purchase. But Freddie, real quick, before we get into the articles and stuff, have you, I'm putting you on a spot. Is there anything in particular over the last, I guess it's been 8 weeks now? It's crazy that you've learned like just by being a part of the show?
Oh, you are putting me on the spot, but this is good though. Maybe it's, I think maybe you guys make it look easy, but investing doesn't seem as hard as I thought it was. I was like, you made it very, finances for me and my Achilles. Like, I don't, that's just, now I'm like, I'm legit. This is the first time I'm legit, like super interested in it. And I think it will help my comedy in some way. I don't know how yet, but I can feel that it will. Yeah. But you guys make it very palatable for an idiot like me, which is fucking great. That's, there's a lot of idiots out there and I'm one of them. So this is good.
Well, that's the goal.
Yeah.
We try to make it fun. We try to make it interesting and try to make it feel like it's not just for a certain set of people. So that definitely makes me feel good for sure.
Yeah. And I like Naval Ravikant is one of my favorite thinkers, and he's a big like tech investor and all that. And he's big on, he thinks that everybody in the world can be wealthy. And I agree with that. I know there's like, there's limited resources and stuff, but you can figure out a way, I think. And I don't know. I'm finally glad I'm tackling this part of my life. So thanks to you, Brad, Fat Man Zoom, and also the Chaos Cruise. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, absolutely. BW Coaching says it's not easy losing money this fast, bro. Yeah, that's true. But we were talking off air. Freddie's very excited to lose money. So
yeah,
we'll get into more of that next week. But anyways, let's get on to some of the articles. What's the first one you got?
Oh, first article is apparently they're going to be getting our credit scores off of our search histories.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, immediately everybody's just like, oh shit, porn. Like like how they don't know how they're going to be grading this according to the article, but that's going to have some kind of thing. So now I'm feeling this whole like Black Mirror Orwellian thing going on. They even mentioned Orwellian concerns in the article. I don't know what the purpose of that or how even credit score could relate, even though I bet it could. I just think that's a huge overreach. That's very scary. And I just want to know how they're going to be grading it. Like what metrics are they going to use? Like how does someone's porn consumption affect their credit score?
Yeah. I mean, this is something that I think for sure is like going to be, I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how this all kind of plays out, because you're right. Like is it just that, or is it other things? Like, what are you searching for? I don't know. Would you be judged based on the fact that you're looking at things from, higher end companies, like our higher end clothing, or are you just searching out Walmart? Does that does that impact how your creditors look at you? So it's
Yeah.
outside of the porn searches, which obviously could continue to be the running joke, but um, I think it goes much deeper than that too. Just like looking at how you might be as a spender based off of some of the stuff you're searching to even just buy.
Yeah, there's another article I saw too about your iPhone will be able to detect. There's a study going on where your iPhone will be able to detect when you're depressed as well. And I feel like these two things are in the same line. And I feel like theoretically, yes, it can be done based off your habits and they know your location, they're listening to everything. But there's still something I feel like it I don't know, being able to make decisions off that I think takes away the human element of things. And it just becomes a little too weird. I don't know. It might be a little too early for that.
Yeah. I don't. Yeah. It says the article had said is not in the too distant future. Who knows? I don't know how this would even be. It doesn't even feel like it's legal, honestly.
Right? I wouldn't be surprised if it's a bullshit article to get people to get some clicks in. Just a weird, it's maybe not as in your face like clickbait. Because that, I mean, but isn't China doing some kind of social credit score thing or something like that already? Like, we have to assume that whatever China's going to do, we're going to try to adopt in some fashion because we want to keep up with them.
Yeah. So, I mean, I guess the argument for was that researchers believe that this approach could help borrowers who have seen denied by traditional financial institutions. So, I guess when you look at it from the other side of the coin, maybe if you've had trouble getting approved for credit in the past, and they kind of find another way for you to actually get approved, it could help somebody, I guess, get a leg up. But I don't know. I think that there's more drawbacks to this than there are, benefits for sure.
I think if they're using it as a way for that, I think that's cool because that I feel like that, it gives another opportunity for people. But if you ain't paying your bills, then like I had shitty credit, and when people denied me, I go, yeah, I get it. My credit's like I was in the high 400s like 5 years ago. Now I'm back into the sevens or whatever. But at that time, I think they were right to deny me of shit just based off of what I'm paying.
Right.
And my search history there, that probably would have just been like, we definitely can't give this guy anything. Like,
you're not up on your case here, Fred.
Yeah, playing Cortez the Killer live on repeat, doing cocaine. Like, that's not, he's not planning for the future.
Well, for me, so like I get my search history too, man. It's not just the porn stuff that I'd be worried about, because sometimes I do watch like the true crime documentaries and that sort of thing. Like I get really my docuseries like list compiles of mostly like organized crime, like mob bosses and shit like that.
Dude.
And
yeah.
so when I'm like watching them, I'm searching all this shit. Like if I have something I don't know, I'm like searching these type of guys. So like if they're going through and like, what the hell? He's just Pablo Escobaring it up,
See, but if I was judging search and I was the banks, I'd be like, give this guy the money. He's planning some big shit here. He's organized. My girl watches shit like that too, or like murder docs, and she's organized and great. And that's probably why she likes crazy things like that, because she wants to figure out the process of getting rid of a body for some reason.
Yeah. What was the most recent one? Cocaine Cowboys. That was the most recent one I watched. I don't know if you've never heard of it, but
those are the Florida guys, right?
The Florida guys, yeah. So like I watched that, and so like I was searching all kinds of stuff because I had never heard of them until I started watching the show. I guess maybe I was too young when it really kind of came to light, but yeah, it was. Yeah, that search history was pretty extensive. I started falling down a rabbit hole. Probably just wouldn't be good for somebody who's trying to prove me for credit.
Cocaine in the 80s was crazy. Like, this the opportunity that arose for so many people. My dad got here when he was 19, and within a couple years was like a staple in like the New York cocaine scene. And he was moving weight, like going to Colombia, stuff like that. And he was able to become a millionaire in a couple years, just off that. Like, to be alive at that time, like I feel like cocaine was just people were just doing it. Like, weren't like baseball players doing it, mascots, like the Philly Frenetic, which he just has that face already too. So it's like,
yeah. I mean, I think the Miami area, those two guys were responsible for like 80% of the distribution of cocaine at the time. It was just insane.
Who?
The Cocaine Cowboys.
80%?
Yeah. At one point in time, they were responsible. It was like over $2 billion.
Wow.
Yeah, it was insane.
Hopefully people saved money and you know, because that wasn't like a thing. I think now cocaine was like the NFTs of the 80s, I feel like.
Yeah. All right. So what else? What we got next? You want to get into the Jeff Bezos stuff?
Yeah, 100%. Jeff Bezos is now the richest man in the world again.
No, Elon is.
Oh, I'm sorry, Elon. My bad. Elon is the richest man in the world again. Why are they telling us this? What? You know,
That's
silver medal.
Yeah, so Elon Musk says he's sending Jeff Bezos a silver medal and a giant statue of the number 2 after surpassing him again to become the world's richest person. And I was talking to Fat Ben Zoom about this yesterday too. So it wasn't just, I don't think it's just about the money side of it. It's also the race to space with the whole Blue Origin thing. It's like, Virgin Galactic goes up, they spend about 3 minutes in space. Well, then Jeff Bezos goes up in his giant penis rocket, spends about 10 minutes up there, whatever. And then Elon's like, fuck it, I'm going to send a whole family up there and they're going to orbit the Earth for 3 days and then they're going to come back and then I'm going to give everybody the middle finger again.
And he did that. He did the 3 days already.
Yeah, that was last weekend. Yeah.
Wow. I do like sending the statue. I think some rich people need to learn how to have money better. Like 50 Cent bought the first 4 rows of Ja Rule's concert just so it could be empty. That's knowing how to have money. I just want a little bit more pettiness, and Elon Musk with this move is heading in the right direction. So I'm with it. Like, make it fun for us. Don't just tell us you're rich. Do some cool shit.
Well, and I mean, we've heard some horror stories from both sides of this thing as far as like the workplace is concerned. But just when we were just off camera, I was telling you about how like this essay had just come out from a former engineer of Blue Origin and the work environment and how she didn't trust anybody getting into any of Jeff Bezos' penis rockets. You can take it however you want, but man, that's just it's just another strike on the Amazon box because we heard earlier in the year about how people are like pissing in bottles and stuff just to get packages out, and so then this comes to light, and she's an engineer, so it's not like it was like somebody that like was replaceable. I guess I mean maybe you could replace them because they obviously did. They fired her, but with this whole whistleblower thing, we talk about that too. Just it's just wild, man. The pressure that they had on those folks, especially when SpaceX and Virgin Galactic were starting to make moves, must have been so great that they must have been cutting corners at some point for engineers to not feel safe about sending these ships into space.
Yeah, that's alarming if you have an engineer speaking up. Typically, those people are quiet. They don't want to talk. And yeah, some corners are cut. He's pretty much making like the Amazon basics of spaceships is what it sounds like.
Yeah. It's just, well, and maybe if they kept her around, she could have been the one that warned him about the shape of that thing.
That's why they fired her. Like, well, what if she was just a crazy feminist broad and the penis shape just triggered her, and then maybe she could have set her off on a different course. I don't know. It could have. Yeah, I don't know. It was wild. All right. So as we're winding down, getting closer to the end of the market right now, the markets we're like crazy red, Freddie. It's been a wild week. Really the last 2 weeks, it's been all over the place. I was up, a ton the beginning of the week, and now I'm back kind of down. Right now, the S&P is down 33 points, so down around 0.8%. The Dow was down like 600 points after starting the day green, and now it's down only 460. So making a little bit of a comeback. The Nasdaq's down around 0.2% after it was green today, and oil continues to go. I don't know if you're feeling this at the pump, Freddie, but oil has just been skyrocketing. I'm invested in it, so it's like I'm okay with it going up because obviously I'm making money there, but it's we're gonna feel it at the pump, I think, getting into the wintertime. Oh yeah. So you probably make more money investing in oil than having to worry about the gas prices, right?
Yeah.
Oh, that's great. I didn't even think about that. I'm gonna eventually get into oil as well. I want to whatever math that is, so I don't have to worry about the price of gas. It's 60. I got a 2004 4Runner.
Yeah.
It's $60 to feel like when it hits the 6. I was like, oh shit, I felt it in my heart. I was like, damn. What country do we need to invade to get this back down to like under $2?
Well, it's crazy. It's crazy. So I'm gonna pull up the XLE here. So anybody doesn't know about the XLE, which I'm going to assume that you don't know the XLE either, Freddie. It is a ETF, so it's a stock that hold or like a fund. The best way I can explain it to you is like a fund that houses all of the major oil companies. Chevron, Exxon are in this fund, and those are the two biggest ones, and then there's a bunch of other small companies. But it's been going up like crazy, especially many of the other stocks have been coming down. Some people are like equating this to uh, a inflation and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
I think this has everything to do with demand. We look at I just heard some reports from the UK. And some of our UK folks are watching. I know I see Savvy Money Show. He's from across the pond, and a few other people, but they're lining up and like hoarding gas because they don't know what's going to happen in the near future because they just don't have truck drivers to transport the stuff. So because the demand is just going through the roof, doesn't necessarily have to do with a whole lot of anything else. It's really just the supply issue, and that's what we're dealing with right now across the board. I mean, people are telling folks to go get their Christmas shopping done now in order to get it by Christmas. It's just wild.
Oh, there's fights at the gas stations out there. That's crazy.
Yeah, Savvy Money Show said there's fights at petrol stations.
Dude, the world is on edge. We covered this a few weeks ago with the rise in altercations on the plane.
Yeah.
My girl travels weekly, and she says like you can just feel a difference in like there's like a tension going on. It's crazy.
Dude, it's only going to get worse when we get closer to the winter months. So I also got into some Southwest. For those of you who are hanging out, want to know what I'm getting myself into. So I got into a lot of the stocks that I think are going to do well going into the winter months that have a lot to do with travel. I mean, we have the last 2 years where we've been dealing with COVID, essentially 2 Christmases, 2 Thanksgivings that we've been dealing with COVID and people not really being able to go and be around family. So I would imagine with the wind down that we're seeing on COVID cases, I mean, the Delta variant is starting to become less and less scary. We're starting to see cases come down significantly on that. I mean, unless there's some other crazy variant that comes out, which is entirely possible, I would imagine that we're going to see a huge demand for travel over Thanksgiving and Christmas holidays and Hanukkah and all that, even New Year's. So I got myself into some Southwest. It's down today, but I think that that's going to pay off, as well as getting into some of the oil stocks because it's just wild, man. Can you imagine like if you haven't seen your family for 2 years or for 2 Christmases or whatever, and they live abroad? I mean, I'm sure you probably have felt a little bit. I know you had your mom up for a little while, but like, just for people in general that maybe we're just too afraid to be around their families in fear of getting COVID.
Yeah, I feel like this is that. I think you're right, Brad. I think this is the winter for way more travel because even last year, the travel spiked in the winter because everyone was like, oh, like COVID is less when it's cold or something. I don't know. There was something going on or whatever. But yeah, this is, tension, man. Traveling during this time period and all that.
Oh, my God.
That's going to be nuts.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, from road trips to air travel to, Airbnbs, the hotels, all of that stuff. I think it's going to get crazy. I think as we get closer to November.
Yeah. I hope people also use the separation from family to also like cut family members off that needed to be cut off. I know some of us like to keep certain family members around because the whole blood is thicker than water, but guys, toxic is toxic. Cut that cord. If somebody ain't being cooperative with your goals, cut them loose. Let them figure it out. Ostracize them into the world. They'll come back.
Yep.
Unless they're mentally ill, in which case put them in a psychiatric hospital or something. But this is yeah. Like I have a good family, and we don't celebrate tradition. Like I just go to my girlfriend's for Thanksgiving because my mom doesn't care about that. But I have a good family. It's crazy what happens to your family when you excommunicate all the rapists and murderers and toxic people and abusers and their enablers. Try that and then give it like a year or so. It's so nice. I love it. I love family.
I love family. So is your girlfriend's like the traditional type family where they get together at the same times every year and then they're kind of like the creasters?
Yeah. And if there's a change in those plans, over the past few years, there's been changes. It's like a big thing, but we've done this for so long, which I understand because that's their tradition, but I just watched the show.
I bet you do.
Yeah.
Savvy Money Show chimes in and says, in the UK, it took all it took was BP and Shell saying they were closing some what is that? Forecourts? What's a forecourt? Is that a gas station?
Yeah. So yeah, something like that. Yeah.
And people were using water bottles to fill up fuel. That's crazy.
Yeah.
What they don't realize is that like the gas is going to break down those water bottles, and it's going to get ugly.
We went through that in the South. Apparently, like there wasn't really a shortage. Somebody said something, and then it actually caused a shortage because people rushed to the gas stations.
Right.
I believe there were fights and everything too. So this is a weird sickness going on.
It's kind of a interesting deja vu moment because I mean, I wasn't around during the 70s. I know you weren't either, but like the 70s, there's an oil crisis, there was inflation going on, like there's a lot of scares, and it seems like history is repeating itself in a lot of ways as far as that's concerned. And again, I was never a part of that. I don't think we're going to get into like, we have to ration out fuel or anything. I mean, who knows? Maybe we will, but it's weird how we're kind of like reliving some of that happened, almost 50 years ago.
Yeah, if you've been with a woman that grew up in the 70s, though, you can feel in the way she has sex, there was a gas shortage at some point in her life. You can it's something you can.
Where'd that come from? I was waiting for it.
No, I don't know. I was like, I have no idea where I'm going with this one. I was like, I got nothing.
Damn, I thought you had something coming good.
I did. I was like,
look. Let's see. So Sean says, yeah, if they ever announced a delay in fuel, we wouldn't have a damn fuel shortage because no one would have panicked. So yeah, I guess it was just. I mean, what are they going to do though? Because like, if there was a shortage and they didn't let anybody know, then they get slammed for that too. So I guess it's, I don't know, better to just be out with it. Who knows?
I don't know.
What else we got, my man? You got anything else?
I'm hearing more and more articles about people quitting their jobs. They don't want to go. They're just not going back. They're just saying fuck it. I feel like the quarantine really helped like center some people. It's like, there's been a lot of career changes and stuff, which I think is pretty freaking awesome. What do you think of that, Brad?
Yeah, I mean, we've seen that personally, just on the investing side of things. The first of all, the work from home aspect is not going away. We still like Zoom, but Zoom's been having a rough time. And we take a look at that stock in general. It's not been pretty for Zoom, but I think it just got way ahead of itself, and now it's starting to figure its life out a little bit. It's green today, but it might not be tomorrow. But that being said, it's interesting because there's no shortage of labor demand, meaning that the jobs market, you can go find yourself a job very easily. Like, it's not hard. You don't even need to have a good resume to get a job at this point. They just need bodies in the building. But I don't know, man. I mean, I think this kind of plays into the inflation side of things because businesses are not willing to go crazy on wages because they know that some of this stuff is going to be temporary once the supply chain issues and that sort of thing get sorted out. But then you have people that are like, well, the government's paying me more money to sit at home on my ass. So why do I need to go get a job? And so there's definitely a weird, I guess, dynamic, I guess might be the right word, between people who are going back to work and those who aren't. So I don't know, man. If all of these companies cave and give in and give them what they want, then everything starts to cost more because they're going to just carry that on to the consumer. And I think that's what a lot of people don't understand. Should people be paid more? Yes. But then you're just going to get charged more. And it's kind of like a vicious cycle.
The market's closed. I want to cover that, but I have a quick question afterwards, after we cover that, about it's about the $15 minimum wage thing. I think it'd be interesting to just think through, if the minimum wage was $15, how would businesses adapt to make up for all that? But we'll cover the markets and then we can do that thought experiment.
Yeah, so the markets are closed officially. Everything seemed to have closed red with the exception of oil. Oil is now at $75 a barrel. S&P was down 1.2%. So a little bit of an accelerated sell-off going into the end of the day. The Dow as well. It looks like everything across the board. The Dow is down 547 points, or 1.5%. The Nasdaq was down 0.5% on the day. So pretty tough day in the market. We're getting into correction territory with a lot of these. The S&P, I believe, is now down officially 5% from its highs. The Dow is down close to 5-6%, and Nasdaq is the furthest from its high, around 6, almost 7%. So we're getting close to correction territory. I think with a lot of the noise that's been going on, folks, this could be good opportunities to get in some of your favorite equities, and we've gone over those. But really, just I think at this point in time, staying away from super speculative stuff is going to be the more likely thing, and getting into more of those value stocks. We've been talking about Apple and Amazon, and they seem to be really undervalued when it comes to tech. So I think that those are going to be good ones to kind of seek the opportunities, because we could very easily see a bounce into the end of the year once people kind of get over themselves as far as some of the wall of worry that they've been climbing over the last couple of weeks. So what you got? What was your question?
Oh, so I was thinking about this the other day. So naturally, I don't think the government should force any kind of wage, whatever, or not, at least not up to 15, whatever. That's a different discussion. But for the thought experiment's sake, let's just say 15 minimum wage is $15. How do you think business owners, and let's say, would react or adapt to that? And then also, how would that affect the markets, and what companies do you think would be like, how would that change things in the market, you think?
Yeah, so it would impact. So it's different. It hits different on different levels, right? Because if I'm a small business that has, 10 employees, it's gonna hit me harder. Like, I'm gonna have to try to figure out how I pass it on to my consumers. So like, that's going to be a little bit more challenging, I think, for small businesses. I think the larger corporations can absorb that a little bit better. We've already seen that from McDonald's, and obviously Amazon, some of the other larger corporations. It's like they have the money to do it. So like, it's not like they can't afford it; they can. But then how do the smaller businesses survive that? You have the threat of potentially forcing them to provide health insurance as well. That's also been in conversation. And then also give them a minimum wage of $15. And you have small businesses in areas where they just can't feasibly do that. So maybe they're forced to close their doors, and then larger corporations come in and scoop them up or move in. So like, there's definitely a lot of challenges with it. Do I think that people deserve to be paid more? Of course I do. I mean, everybody should be paid more, but there's consequences to that as well. And I think that that's what needs to get figured out.
Yeah, and I do think it's at the end of the day, the people are going to get fucked one way or another, right? They're either not going to get their $15 minimum wage, or they're going to get their $15, and then everything's just going to be super expensive. And I believe somebody also put in the comments, the higher minimum wage, David Perlmutter said, the higher minimum wage will kill the lower class and eat into the middle class. And I think that ties into, on a business sense, what you're saying about the small businesses really taking the hit. And so it's just, I was just thinking about this super high the other day, and I was just like, I guess it'd be interesting to see how businesses themselves would adapt, but the people affected by it, I think it would do more damage than good. I think. I don't know. I'm.
Yeah, there's only one way if you're a small business that you get to keep your employees and keep your doors open if you're forced to raise wages, and that's to charge people more. So then it's just, like I said, it's a circle. Like, you're going to get screwed one way or the other. And it's been wild to see how things have progressed over a short period of time. I mean, I've been working for 20 years. I'm 35 years old. I started working when I was 15. My first job was at Chick-fil-A. So in that 20 years, minimum wage, I was making $15.15 an hour 20 years ago.
Holy shit. That's a good. You were making $15 an hour 20 years ago?
Chick-fil-A, yeah, man.
Yeah. Oh, dude, I was a lifeguard. That was like my first real job, was lifeguard. I was making like, I don't even know, but it was a lot. The check every 2 weeks was good, and I was a lifeguard, so it was like a cool job. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, so, what was your first job? Like, give us some jobs you did as teenagers.
Oh man. Yeah. Guys, put in the comments, what was your first job? How much did you get paid then? But I mean, just to my point though, is that like, we've seen minimum wage go up like crazy over the last 20 years. It's more than doubled. So it's just, and what's happened since then? Everything costs more. I mean, that's literally all that happens. Nothing changes. Everything just costs more. You're making more, but like, you can't afford things any better than you did 20 years ago, because it all comes out in the wash.
Yeah, I was talking to another comic about this, and he was saying, there's just this line that's moving, and you just have to always, unfortunately, you have to be above that line.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes we forget that human beings are animals at the end of the day. Like we're just,
Yeah.
some of us only believe the things we believe because it just kind of worked out for us that way. Like it's interesting though. Cool. I like the responses in the comments and whatnot too.
Yes, David Perlmutter said, I started at Ponderosa Steakhouse in 1992. $7 an hour. $7 an hour in 92? Man, you were rolling in it.
Were you server or was that like hosting or something like that? That's because servers are it's like $2 an hour.
Yeah.
So, and you make money off the tips. That was my favorite job probably was I was working at a fine dining restaurant. So I got to learn a lot about a different class of people, different kind of foods. The tips were great. It was awesome. Like learned about wines and stuff, and I would use that knowledge to pick up women. Like it was.
I thought I was hot shit when I started working at Chick-fil-A. The only reason I wanted to work there I should say two reasons. One reason was to get a car, and I got my 1988 Ford Taurus, and the other reason was because I wanted a pair of Oakley sunglasses, and I had to buy them myself.
Yeah,
and they were like the blue. I don't even. They're like frameless. They are like the half frames, and they were like I had blue lenses. I thought I was hot shit at 15 years
you
old.
were hot shit because you made a goal and you got them. I mean, dude, that's great.
Yeah, but like I had crazy acne. Oh my god, it was a fucking mess. My Ford Taurus. It was like the RoboCop. It was like a RoboCop Ford Taurus. You remember? Have you seen RoboCop?
Yes.
That was the car.
Yeah. Oh, dude, you were killing it, bro. You were killing it. Rob T says first job he was Grimace at a McDonald's for a weekend. Wow.
Oh my god.
Where is this McDonald's located? Because I mean, it's like,
yeah,
if it was McDonald's in Harlem, I bet it'd be hilarious. Like,
absolutely.
Oh, cashier. Okay, cool.
Okay. Oh, he was cashier. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Don Fran worked at Don was rolling in it. I was worked part-time prepping concrete sites before school at $12 an hour, and Don's around my age, so that was pretty good money back then.
That's a good gig too. Right before school, get it out of the way.
Hell yeah, working with your hands and shit.
Little bit of walking around money as a teenager. That felt really good. Like,
oh my god. I was just looking. Minimum pay. Don said minimum pay for minimum job. What electrician makes minimum wage? That's a great point too. I think that minimum wage jobs shouldn't be a means to an end, right? It should be a means. Well, it should be a means to an end. It should be, something a platform to get you onto the next thing. For sure. I definitely agree with that.
I like the shout out to the electrician because I'm a big fan of like pushing for trade schools as well. Because that's something that won't be taken over by AI for a long time until a robot can effectively like travel, go to someone's house and fix it. That's going to be a while. Also, even like hairdresser, shit like that. I told my girl, I was like, listen, we're going to save money for college for our future kids, but I wouldn't bank on all of them going. Like if we have 3 kids, I wouldn't be surprised if only one actually goes and the other ones don't. And they're, there's other things you got to factor in, but I don't know.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if my kid wanted to do what I do, being content creation or whatever, I would imagine that at some point they probably will have like formal education for that by the time my kid is, old enough to, go to college or whatever. But nevertheless, if they discovered something else, I'd be like, find your way, do whatever you want. Like if you want to get into some sort of form of education or trade school or whatever, then that's something that would be good for you too. Like, you could open up a 529 college savings plan now if you wanted to, even though you don't have a kid. You could just be the custodian of it, and then when your kid's born or whatever, then you put them in it. But it could be to any accredited school 529 savings plan. So it's not just to colleges; it can be to like trade schools and stuff like that participate in the program. So
how can the government fuck you on that one? For some reason, every time someone brings that one up, my defenses go up for no reason. I have no information.
There is a catch. You can only use it for educational purposes. The 529 college.
Yeah.
And if you if you use it for anything else, there is a 10% tax penalty. So not only are you do you get taxed on the gains that you make, like normal income, but there's 10% on top of that.
Okay. So if one of my kids doesn't go and we're just like, all right, we can take the money out, and we had 100,000, they would keep 10,000 and we leave with 90. That's not too bad.
Well,
I mean, that's kind of
so you'll get taxed on the gains that you made, like your regular tax bracket or whatever.
Yeah.
And then 10% on top of that.
Okay. Oh, because the money's growing in there as you're saving as well.
Right. Yeah. So it's gaining interest. Okay. It's compounding with the market because you're sitting in a mutual fund or whatever. So it's compounding while you're in the market. So any money that you make, any profit that you make, you would get taxed on, regular tax bracket. And then on top of that, it's 10% penalty.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. That's actually not bad. Actually, that's pretty fair. I think, right?
But if you use it for school, it could be for housing or whatever. It's tax free. Okay.
All right.
So
I'm sad. I feel like our kids won't be able to do cocaine the way we all did when we were kids. They can't, because with all this fentanyl stuff, you can't even have fun anymore. Jesus.
Yeah, like just the slightest little bit just kills you.
Yeah, kids, can't
ruin the mood.
It's like a rite of passage for an American. Cocaine's a very American drug.
80s was the good old days.
It was. My dad, he looked up to Ronald Reagan. That's why he sold drugs. That's why he imported massive amounts of cocaine into the city.
Didn't he implement the war on drugs?
Reagan.
Yeah,
but they brought cocaine into to fund the Nicaraguan Contras and all that. So Ronald Reagan's, I think, the biggest drug dealer, or at least he's in the top 3, and a president too, which is great.
Yeah, I remember, like, going back to my documentaries, that like seeing the CIA had a lot of instigated a lot of that.
Yeah, they're legal gangsters. Yeah. Literally legal gangsters. They're going in. I just listened to a clip of a guy that was a CIA dude. He was somewhere higher up, and it talks about like don't cheat, don't steal. And he's like the CIA. He's like, that's all we did. He's like, we cheated, we stole, we had training seminars on how to do it. Like, right. But it's one of those weird, like, dark areas of life where you're like, I guess it's necessary, because what's the alternative? Some other part of the world's gonna do it to us, I guess. Well,
yeah, I mean, in order to beat the bad guy, I guess you have to be the bad guy.
Yeah, that's it's an unfortunate realization.
Yeah. So, all right, guys, with that, I think that's a good place to end it.
Yeah, dude, we crushed that. That was great.
We got pretty good about it. It was good. We got a little bit of everything in there, which is good. If you guys wouldn't mind hitting that subscribe button and the like button on your way out the door, we certainly would appreciate it. We're going to be live again at 7:30 p.m. Eastern time on Sunday for Stock Watch Sunday. You guys know that we love that. That's our favorite time of the week, except for Thursdays now, of course. But we'll give you our top 5 stocks that we're watching throughout the week, and give you kind of a snapshot on what we think, how the markets are going to react to whatever else is going on. This stuff with the Congress and the debt ceiling and all that's going to continue to be this black cloud that hangs over us for a little while, and it's going to shake the market for a little bit. So we'll give you some more insights on that going into next week. And that's going to do it for me. Freddie, where can everybody find you?
Find me on Instagram at Freddie Valoy, and also TikTok. And thank you for all the compliments. Sean complimented my beard. He said my barber must like me. He does. I went to my people, the Dominicans. He hooked me up. So thank you for noticing, Sean. That was very nice. And shout out to the Chaos crew. Shout out to Fat Man Zoom, whatever he's doing, wherever he's at. And Brad, shout out to you, bro. I had a lot of fun this episode.
Yeah, thanks, man. Me too. Yeah, that beard game's on point, bro. That fade is on point. That's gonna do it for us, guys. Real quick, just last shout out. I wanted to shout out Forever Young Jojo Villa with a $10 donation. Thanks so much, man. Appreciate it. That's awesome. Says good to be back here. Brad, Fatman Zoom, and guest. The guest would be Freddie Valoy. So thanks for hanging out with us, and we'll see you on Sunday. Bye.